Hey everybody, this is Steve from Our Sustainable Journey, and today it's kind of a crappy day. So the sky is gonna unload any minute now, and when it rains you usually stay inside. So I figured we'd stay in the barn and take a look at some of the bins. I figured you guys would want to see what our CFTs look like on the inside with the worms going to town. So I will set up some lights, we'll dig around, we'll see what we can see inside each bin. All right, come along, it'll be fun. All right, before we get into the fun of the first CFT, I want to show you some of the things that we pull out from our food scrap customers, or things that we pull out later. So that is your typical Starbucks drink cup. That's what's left of it after the worms have eaten it. Pretty cool. They eat all the paper, they don't eat the plastic. There's always a liner on those things. You don't see it, but it's there. Teacup, I guess somebody mixed in with their food scraps. I don't understand how, but if this is yours, let me know and we'll send it back to you. These are like K-cups, I guess. These don't break down at all. No, that one broke. That's awesome. So, yeah, whatever these are, they're bad for the worm bin. Mason jar lid, rubber bands from when you buy vegetables at the store, sometimes they have rubber band. These stupid little drink stirrer things that they put in every drink nowadays. This is like a complete waste of everything. But yeah, those are the things that we pull out, plus the stickers on fruit if we see them. Usually what happens when we sift, they'll pop out then. Staples on tea bags, that's another one that comes out when we sift. Yeah, so just keep an eye on the stuff that you're putting in your bucket, or that you're composting or putting into your worm bin. It'll come out in the end. The worms obviously aren't going to eat plastic, but you also don't want that stuff even slightly breaking down and getting in there, because that would be bad. All right, on to the bins. All right, so we'll start with we'll call this one bin 1 of 5, I guess. So you can see it's been a week since the last time I fed them. They've done a really good job of eating everything. I turned the lights on, and that's why you're not seeing any of them, but here they all are. They're just under the surface, finishing off the last of the food scraps, and it's a paper towel, eggshells. You've got full. That's a lemon. That might be another lemon. We got a bunch of lemons in here. Some avocados, a little bit of leaves. But you can see in a week, they've done a really good job. I do not cut up my food scraps. I don't blend them. I don't mix them. I don't do much of anything with them besides pour them in here. I'll let the worms do their thing. I mean, the eggshells, I try and catch them and crush them, but you know, with the food scrap pickup business, it's really hard to catch them because you're dumping 20-30 pound buckets in here. So I don't always catch them. But yeah, they've done a really good job. So we'll have to feed them again. So now, let me get this, show you. So we keep plastic over it to keep the moisture in. I'm actually going to be adding, I think, a layer of newspaper to keep even more moisture in, right? Alright, so let's spin you around. We'll look at this side of the same bin. So these bags, they're awesome. I love them. But the worms have trouble with them because they try and get in there. You can see that those guys trying to get in there. And they will. They'll break it down. Yeah, you can see they've pretty much started to tear into it pretty well. And that stuff will break down soon enough. Seems we have some flies in here, so I have to do something about that. But yeah, I mean, you know, this bin is fine. This bag, they're starting to get in there. And you can see they've already gotten in there a little bit. Yeah, here they all are. What are they eating? I don't know what that, oh, that might be a tomato. Looks like that's a tomato. They are devouring that tomato. So, here are, that might be a potato. I don't know. But yeah, they're ready for another feeding. So, bin 1. Everything is looking good. They're doing a great job. I'm so proud. Let's take a look at bin 2 and see how they're doing over there. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera on before I get the lights on. Hopefully you can see this, but there is a little worm party going on in this bin. You can see they are all over the place. So let's get this set up. Check the right angle so you can see. And the worms will freak and they'll hide and they'll go on the surface. So this is actually one of our 2 oldest bins. This is bin 2. This is, we'll call this the south side of bin 2. So you can see we have some mushroom growth. Mushrooms are good in your bin. It just means you need to watch your moisture levels. Here's where all the worms are. They are devouring this potted plant. This was the potted plant that one of our customers gave us. They absolutely love it. Look at how well they're doing in there. Probably the same thing here. Yeah. So let's see what else we've got going on in this bin. This one actually looks a little wet. I don't know if you can see that, if the camera is picking up the moisture in here, but it's really wet. So that just tells me that I need to add a little bit more paper next time when I feed them. But that's it. I mean, everything else is good. They're chowing on an orange. Chowing on an eggshell. So, yeah. That mold is probably from the hemp that we've added. That stuff molds over pretty quick, which is fine. That's just part of its process breaking down, is that it'll get moldy first. So you can see plenty of worm activity in here, just about everywhere. They've pretty much chowed down on everything. There's a few bugs. Bugs are okay. Nothing wrong with that. That's like a whole chunk. See, this is what mold does. Mold forms these big old balls. It dries it out, forms this chunk. So you need to break this stuff down or wet it down, because that's what'll dry out your bin. That's where it gets dangerous with your smaller bins, is because the worms don't have a way of getting away from that stuff. And so you want to make sure that you're checking your bins for mold, and just breaking it up. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, like this is totally fine. This can be dangerous. See how dry it is? I don't know if you can see that, but it is really, really dry. This is the hemp. This is what it does. It gets really dry, molds, and crusts over, and it takes a while for the worms to break it down. They still love it. It's just drier. It just means we need to watch it. See, there's all the worms on top of it. So they seem to be doing a good job on this one too. So we'll have to harvest this one soon. Because we still, well, I guess we have 6 inches. So that's probably 5 or 6 weeks more before it'll be completely full. So that is the south end of this bin. Oh, there's a whole bunch of eggshells that they're chowing on. So let's go see what is on, we'll call it the north end. So we have these plastic sheets that I use to keep the moisture in. So we'll flip it back this way. And they crawled off the top, so I'm gonna have to fix those guys. And then you can see, yeah, see, there you go. Worm party going on there. Get you set up in the bin. Okay, so we've got a giant lemon, a whole bag of rotting stuff that the worms have started eating. What else? There's not much. Oh, there's a fruit sticker. I need to go pull that out. I don't know what that is. Is that an onion, maybe? Maybe that's an onion that they're on the inside of. And I don't know if you can hear this storm, but it is lighting up right now. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. So, grape stems with worms is one of my favorite things, because they absolutely, I don't know if it's like a jungle gym to them, but they love these things. They take forever to break it down, but it's just, every time I find one in a worm bin, it is just covered in worms. It's pretty awesome. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, they're just chowing in here. Got a plant growing. I'm not even gonna venture a guess on what that is. Doesn't really matter. We don't keep anything that grows in the bin because we don't need to. We have our own garden. Maybe we'll keep some pumpkin seeds, but that's about it. Let's see. Another full orange. That's gonna take them a while. Sometimes I'll cut that stuff in half just so that they have an opening. And it's kind of like cracking open a can so they have a way of getting into it. But yeah, they're just devouring this stuff. You see? That I think is a mango husk, shell, seed, whatever the heck they're called. I don't know what they're called. I'm a worm farmer. What else is back in here? Oh, there's more bags. Those will break down. They got worms on them. They're doing a good job. These guys clearly need to be fed with a little food is left, just the big hunky stuff. So, cool. All right, that's bin 2. Let's go on to bin 3, which is our next oldest bin. All right, this is CFT number 3. This will be the south side of it. Turn on the light. You'll see that looks like a pineapple top. And you can see the worms love it. They are living inside of the little edges, or the little leaf outcroppings, whatever those are called. Here's another one. Worms love pineapple. I don't know how many times I can say it, but I will say it every single time. Worms love pineapple. Yeah, so this one, same thing. This one's a little bit wet too. So it just means I need to add more paper next time, more cardboard. Oh yeah, that is definitely wet. But that's okay. I don't mind wet because the worms don't mind wet. It allows them to move a little bit easier. But it brings in other pests, and that is a problem. Although, you know, as you can see, we do have other things living in here. Other mites and flies and other things, but they all help break this stuff down. So I encourage it. I don't mind the other things because this is this is away from my house. This is in an outbuilding. It's not anywhere near where I live or eat or anything like that, so I don't really care. And these things help break stuff down. However, if you're doing this in your house, you do not want a wet bin. You do not want all of these pests. This would drive you nuts. If you had a lot of flies, I would say use mosquito dunks or diatomaceous earth. That stuff works really well. Diatomaceous earth does for getting rid of all the pests. It doesn't hurt the worms, but it gets rid of all the pests. But it only works when it's dry, which is really hard to use in a worm bin. And so what you can always do is you can put a cover over it and then cover that with the diatomaceous earth. And by a cover, I mean like newspaper, or like we have the plastic or something like that. And that way when anything lands on it, they'll get the diatomaceous earth. And it's like basically, I think my understanding of it is that it's feels like glass, I guess. So when they touch it or get into it, it cuts them and kills them, and it just sounds awful and painful and miserable. And so it sounds like a terrible way to kill things, but I guess if you have a lot of pests, that's what you're gonna want to do. So yeah, this one seems pretty good. It doesn't look like they've done a very good job of breaking everything down, so I might leave them. I may not feed them this week until they've finished their plate, right? We're part of the Clean Plate Club, if you know what that is. Basically, it means you shouldn't feed your worms until they finished the last thing they were given, right? You can't get up from the table until your plate's clean. If your parents were that way, that was the Clean Plate Club. Yeah, so this is the south end. So we'll flip over, see all the worms on the top, and we'll cover this, that. Oh yeah, that's a big worm party. Look at them all. They're doing awesome. They are loving it, right? We like to keep our worms happy. And clearly they're happy right now. That is a full apple. That's gonna take them a while. I'll just poke some holes in it. I'll allow them a chance to get in there. There's another one of those bags. They're trying though. They're all over it. They're swarming it. Oh, there's a little opening. That's what they're trying to get into. And that's totally cool. See, same thing over here. Get a whole bunch of worms swarming the bag. So when you have a bin at home though, I hate the wasted effort that comes with blending your food scraps, because it kind of defeats the purpose of this. The whole idea here is that we're keeping stuff out of landfills. We're trying to reduce carbon footprint. We're trying to stop harmful emissions and chemicals and things like that. So if you're blending your food scraps, you're using energy, and it's all wasted. It's all gone. So I'm not a fan. I think that's kind of pointless to blend your food scraps. But if you do it, fine. If it's a home bin, fine. On a level like this, we just can't. There would be no way. It would be impossible, and it would be way more energy than I want to expend breaking this stuff down. That's not the point. The point is to reduce usage of fossil fuels and reduce carbon footprint and stuff like that. So blending it just doesn't sit right with me. But I'll get off my soapbox. Yeah, these guys did a terrible job. There's a lot of moisture in here too. So I think what happened was they came to the surface where it was a little bit drier, started eating their way back through, and so we'll have to get them some cardboard to reduce that moisture a little bit. So it's a lemon, another apple with a whole bunch of worms under it. Pretty cool. All right, moving on to CFT number 4. All right, hopefully you can hear me over this crazy storm. So this is number 4. This is the south end of that one. And we have an onion, which the worms are devouring, or have devoured. There's really not much left there. Towel of some sort, paper towel, and not much else. Oh my gosh, they've really broken this down. There's a bone. That's going to take forever. We may pull that out and put that into a regular compost bin. Some mushrooms. Again, those form on the hemp. Gosh, that's really it. On the bone. They've really... What, carrot? Maybe? Maybe that's a carrot. Yeah, that's a carrot. Another pineapple top over here. zone in a little bit better. Cucumber, looks like, maybe a pickle. Not much left of one. Yeah. Worms are going to town on that. Alright, well, not much left on that side. Let's go around, go to the north end here. Alright, so potted plant. Similar to the other one. That's where they all are. They're inside there. I absolutely love stuff like this. Because what happens is when they get a cocoon on them, it comes off really easily, and then the babies, when they're born, can stay in there for a while, and there's plenty of nutrients and whatnot. So it's a great place to have a kid. Same with like coffee filters. I love when they get stuck in coffee filters because it pulls the cocoon off the end of them faster. It's an apple. And it allows the cocoon to be in a really happy place. So yeah, they're doing great. Tons of apples in this one. So we're gonna need to poke some holes there, give them a way in. It's a tomato. So cherry tomatoes, same thing. They have trouble getting in there. So I always pop a hole in them if I can, or cut them in half. That's a bone that's going to take forever. Let's see what else is in here. Not a whole lot. It looks like it's kind of getting dry on this end. So we'll need to add some moisture in here. Maybe wet it down a little bit. Sometimes the edges get dry. That's okay, because they've got plenty of surface area here to go somewhere else. Some paper towels, just a big old wad of them. Those get broken down eventually too. Another apple. Yeah, so they're doing good in this one too. So that is CFT number 4. Let's move on to number 5. All right, last but certainly not least, bin number 5. Now this bin I have kind of a love-hate relationship with. You can see there are tons of fruit flies. I don't know what happened to this bin. This is a new one. This is the only one that seems to have that. I'm still torn on what I want to do about it. I don't even know what that is. It looks like a squash or an acorn squash or something. But yeah, they're doing a terrible job. There's a ton of bugs. So we'll see. I don't know. Pineapple. Ooh, they're doing a really bad job. So that's a whole lot of food scrap still. We'll have to see what's going on. This one feels really wet too. Oh, there they are. They're all hanging out over here. What are you doing, guys? Come on. You should break down all this other stuff. But it's a new bin, so it's only been going 2 weeks, I think. So I can't really be too angry at them. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing, I guess. All right. Which brings me to the other side of this bin, which is pretty much the grossest thing I've ever seen. So let me move the plastic back. Move this over. You see what that is? Oh my gosh. That is gross. That is maggots. You could see all of the other stuff over here. There's a lot of, let's see, all the worms are hiding. They don't want anything to do with the maggots. I don't know what happened. But yeah, lots and lots and lots of maggots. So I don't think these are black soldier flies. Just based on their movements, they don't look like black soldier flies. Black soldier flies move a little bit differently, I think. I'll have to show you some of those at some point. But yeah, this bin is overrun by maggots, and I think this is the culprit. That is a ham. Somebody put a ham in one of their buckets. I didn't catch it when I poured it out because it got mixed in with everything. So I think that brought in all of the pests. So we'll just have to let them run their course. They shouldn't do much. They're not going to do any damage. They're going to break everything down. There's nothing wrong with worms or with the maggots. It's just totally disgusting. And not for everybody. My wife refuses to come out here and deal with this bin. So yeah, that's all 5 CFTs. I hope you enjoyed seeing what other people have in their CFTs. I really like to see the way people set up their bins and what's inside of them and how they're doing and all that. 4 out of 5 doing great. Obviously this one needs some work, so we'll work on getting it squared away, getting rid of some of these pests, and I'll, you can follow along and see how well we do with getting this under control. But it happens, it's totally normal. I wouldn't worry about it. It's going to run its course. If this was inside a house, I would be freaking out, but it's outside in a barn where I don't see it every day, so not a big deal. I only see it when I'm feeding them or when I do special videos like this. Let me look at it. Anyway, that'll be it for today. I just want to thank everybody. We're up around 450 subscribers. I think that's pretty awesome. If you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. We've got all kinds of stuff with the worms, obviously, the food scrap pickup business, the farm itself. We've got pigs and chickens. I'm hoping to add more animals. I just need to convince my wife. So you can help me with that. If you know her, send her an email and say, hey, get a cow or goats or hundreds of chickens. It'll be fun. Anyway, I will see you all later. Take care. Hopefully you can see this, but this 77.92 and 6 ounces is the food scraps that we've collected this year, I think. No, they can't be just this year. That's got to be since February. So 5 months, almost 8,000 pounds of food scraps that we've taken out of landfills. Yeah, that's about right, since February. So awesome. Great job, everybody. That's really cool.